Hello, my name is Heather Rivard, Senior Vice President of Electric Distribution here at DTE Energy. I wanted to come to you this morning with a quick update on the status of our restoration efforts as well as our estimates for restoration times. For some of our customers, this is the fourth day without power since Friday evening storms, which were followed by even more severe weather on Saturday, with winds in excess of 60 to 70 miles per hour. We know how extremely frustrating and inconvenient it can be for customers to try to get through day-to-day life without power. We are working as quickly and as safely as we can to get 90% of our customers restored by the end of the day tomorrow and to meet our target of getting 80% restored by the end of the day today. Currently, we restored more than 350,000 customers, but we also realize that that is very little consolation for the more than 200,000 customers who are still without power. I also want to address some of the concerns from our customers that have been raised around restoration estimates. We have a good plan internally in terms of when we're going to restore each customer on our system. We have timelines laid out for when each outage will be completed. All of that information is available to us internally, but yesterday we experienced significant issues with our technology, making it more difficult for customers to see their estimated restoration times on our website as well as on our mobile app, which only added, of course, to the frustration of being without power. This is completely unacceptable. We've been working very hard to fix those communication channels and to make sure that the estimates are available to customers. We believe that everything is working as it should be today, and we will be monitoring it throughout the day to make sure we don't experience any additional issues in providing restoration estimates. Please know that we are here working around the clock and that we will not stop until every single customer has been restored. Over 1,100 DTE employees and contractors are out in the field working on restoration efforts, and we've also been joined by over 750 workers from other utilities as far away as Georgia and New York. We can't thank our customers enough for their ongoing patience, and we also apologize for the ongoing convenience of the power outages being experienced. At this point, I will open it up to questions from any of the reporters who are here today.
So about 1,850 people working on this. Why is it taking so long? You know what I mean? From beginning to end, like you mentioned, this is some people's fourth day. Why was that there?
Yeah. So basically, we had two large storm events. The first one Friday evening with 50 to 60 mile an hour winds. We had restored almost half of the customers from that, when on Saturday we had an even more severe weather event with 60 to 70 mile an hour winds. Our actual restoration time, as far as the number of customers that we are restoring per hour, is actually very good, and I'm very proud of the work that our crews are doing. Many of our crews have been working 16 hours a day for at least the last 4 weeks due to the heat and outages associated with other weather that has come through. I realize again that is little consolation for those customers that are still without power, and we will keep working around the clock until everyone is restored. Our goal is, and we will meet the goal of 90% by tomorrow evening.
What is the restoration per hour, and of the 1,850, how many will be out in the field at any given moment?
For the 1,850 employees, for the most part, they are on 16-hour shifts. And so when one set of folks go home, another set come in for 16 hours. The majority of the crews are working during what would be the daylight hours, the first 16 hours of a 24-hour period. On Friday night, the concentration was more on the west side of our service territory, so from Ann Arbor up through Howell. But when the storms came through on Saturday, there really was no specific concentrated area, and so the outages are actually quite widespread across the entire southeastern Michigan. Right now, they're still pretty concentrated across the entire territory. We do have our mobile command center staged in Livonia because that is one of the areas with larger numbers of outages. We also have community bands in Lincoln Park, Westland, Romulus area. In terms of how we fix the lines, in this particular storm, there's a lot of tree damage, not surprisingly with the high winds. In fact, in general, not just in this storm, 2/3 of the time that our customers are without power is due to tree interference or trees coming down. So in most cases, what the crews have to do is they're partnered up with tree trim crews. They have to clear the tree, clear the hazard, and then they can repair any equipment damage, including putting the wire back up. Oftentimes, the crews can be working in parallel. They don't always have to wait for the tree crew to finish to begin work on the equipment itself. Yes. Yeah. I would say two things. So the weather event on Saturday was a long line of storms that swept entirely from the north side of our service territory all the way to the south side of our service territory. We had wind reports from different points across the service territory. Most of them were over 60 miles an hour, just wind gusts, that is. The highest was in Lapeer County at 70 miles per hour. One of the biggest things that we're working on as a utility for improvement and have been working on for the last 2 years and will continue for the next 3 years before we are completed is doing more extensive tree trimming along our power lines. A lot of the times when a storm rolls through, it is trees that come down. It is our job and our initiative to do a greater amount of tree trimming across our territory. In the areas where we've done that tree trimming, there are significantly fewer outages that occur after the tree trimming is complete, and so is our intent to finish our entire service territory within the next few years. Yes, there's both a capital outlay as well as what we call maintenance. So tree trimming is a maintenance effort, and we are spending upwards of $150 to $200 million a year on tree trimming, and we're doing a greater number of removals and a larger amount of tree trimming itself. We are also investing between $750 million up to $1 billion per year over the next several years on the distribution grid itself to replace infrastructure and also to upgrade infrastructure to the latest technology. We file rate cases so that our investments can be reviewed by the commission and they can ensure that those investments are prudent. We are also very conscious of the fact that customers want affordable electricity, and so at the same time that we're making investments, we're also looking for ways that we can reduce our costs to try to keep the rates at a reasonable rate of inflation. We most recently we did file a rate case in the last 30 days, and we are trying to keep those rates in line, as I mentioned, with reasonable inflation, reasonable increases. I don't have the exact analysis on how the circuits we trimmed since 2017 have performed in this storm. That is something that we will most definitely be looking at as we wrap up the storm. Right now we're focused on restoration, but we do look on a weekly basis at the performance of circuits that were trimmed to our new specification to see how they're performing in general. And that helps us to continually improve our tree trimming specifications. The results have been very good so far, but in terms of how it relates to this storm, that's not something we'll look at until we're done with the restoration. It was 200,000, I'm sorry, it was about 250,000 as of 7 a.m. this morning. So my estimate would be that we're at around 230,000 right now. We will be sending out an official email media update within the next half hour, and that will have the official numbers in it.
So when you say 80 and 90%, is it based on 80% of 230,000 will be done by the end of the day, or 80% of like since it started?
Yeah, it's 80% of the nearly 600,000 that were impacted by the end of the day today, and then 90% of that 600,000 by the end of the day tomorrow, and then finishing on Wednesday.